You read around it. See, end stream when you're all done. And okay, I think you start talking now. I don't know. What does it say?
Hello, 12 seconds in, yeah.
Okay.
My name is Gerald Wayne Stubbington. I am a cancer survivor, and my wife asked me to do this video to possibly help other people. We live in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, Canada, and I am a cancer survivor, and I'll tell you my story real quick. 1986, I was diagnosed with neoplastic lymphoma. I worked in a veneer mill then, a very hard physical job, which I loved. But I felt very sick and I was getting very weak. And one day I developed a golf ball sized tumor in my armpit. And my good friend Eddie to the hospital from work because I could not operate my right hand anymore. My right arm went numb. And so the journey starts. They said, the doctor in Emerge said, you have to have a biopsy. And I did that. And they said, you have a malignant tumor in your armpit. And they took that out. And I have a big scar here. And then I went to see a doctor. His name was Dr. David Wald. He was an oncologist specialist in Sault Ste. Marie, and he's saved my bacon many times. But anyways, I'm doing this video so that maybe it might help somebody to realize that even though you have cancer and you might have it bad, you might and can survive. So from that point on, I started chemotherapy right away. And I was 26 years old. And I was ripped and torn. I just got out of the military after 9 years in the reserves. And I was very, very healthy, extremely healthy. And I was very surprised that I had cancer. They gave me a protocol. It's called Makeup B, which fights lymphomas. And at the end of your protocol, you should be healthy and cured of cancer. But I was the other way around. At the end of my protocol, my tumors got bigger and more powerful and everything else. So I fought cancer and I basically was losing the battle. My immune system was killing the chemotherapy as fast as they can pour it into me. And the cancer was getting very angry. It wanted to win the war. So anyways, I went onto my deathbed and I was given my last rites by a priest. And when I woke up, I was laying in my bed in the oncology unit. I was stage 4 going into stage 5, if that's even. I had a massive tumor in my neck. My face was swelled out like this. I had a tumor in my groin and I had a big one in my belly. And the Dr. Wald came in and said, I have nothing left in my arsenal to give you. And I'm going to give you a chemotherapy now that is not meant for lymphoma. I believe it was meant for leukemia, which is fighting a different part of the blood. And when the priest was there, he gave me a medal, this medal here. It's miraculous, this one right here. And he blessed it. And he said, wear this medal in good faith and you'll always be healthy. And I was dying at that time. I had sunglasses on. I was laying in my bed. And my dad came in and he laughed and he was crying. And he said, son, you look kind of funny. And people were coming in from all over the country to say goodbye because I was dying, blah, blah, blah. And I looked at the priest anyways, and I said, I'm not dying. There's nothing wrong with me, really. He turned white and walked out of the room. Anyways, there was a young girl here. Her name was Crystal, and Crystal was a young girl, and me and her were both Calgary Flames fans. And we said that I promised her that I would watch the Stanley Cup game between Montreal and Calgary in Calgary, game 6. And if Calgary won, they'd get the Stanley Cup. Lanny McDonald would get his Stanley Cup ring, and the whole world would be happy, and everyone would be happy. And I promised Crystal that I would watch that game with her. And she was very sick with leukemia. And so anyways, during the night, they gave me this chemotherapy that It really didn't affect me. I didn't even notice it going into me. And the next morning I woke up and I looked like this. Now, when Dr. Wald came in the next morning, he looked at me and he said, I don't understand what happened here. This is a true story. He said, I don't understand what happened here. But it's beyond medicine. And he just let it go at that. And the next day, I watched excuse me. I watched that hockey game. With Crystal, and the Calgary Flames won that Stanley Cup. And Lanny McDonald got his Stanley Cup ring and he retired. He was my favorite player. Him and the big stash. And then the fight goes on because I was not cured of cancer. I still had cancer, but I survived that night. And Dr. Wald will tell you he doesn't know why. But some weird things happened to me during my battle with cancer. One night I was given medication just to keep me alive long enough to find something. And I was given a call. I was in a bar having a drink, and I was told not to drink, but at the time I was single and having a good time. And I was in the bars drinking and stuff. I got a call from the bartender, and he said, go up to the hospital. The doctor's waiting for you. So I went up to the doctor's. And it was in room 4, I believe, of the oncology unit. And then the oncology unit in Sault Ste. Marie only has, like, at the time at the Plummer Hospital had around 7 or 9 beds, whatever. It wasn't very big. But Dr. Wald at the time, he mixed his own chemotherapy, which was very rare at the time in 1987. And he called me and he says, come into the hospital, go into room 4, and I'll meet you there. And it was like 9 o'clock at night. I remember this, though. This is really cool. I walked in the room and it was dark, and he's standing in the corner, and there was one lamp on. It was an empty room, and he has a lamp. He has one of those poles where they put the IVs on. And he walked up to me and he said, I got this medication from Montreal from a friend of mine, and he's going to administer this medicine into me. It was chemotherapy. It was experimental care chemotherapy. And he said, what's going to happen in 9 days, you're going to be red. I'm going to dump this into you as fast as I can. So I did. And 9th day, I remember I started peeing red really bad. And then when he says, come in on the 10th day, and we will check your blood. I went in on the 10th day, and they said, perfect. He said, your blood count, your chemotherapy, your cancer counts are way down. We set you up for a visit to the Toronto General Hospital. They're going to do a Limerick bone marrow transplant on you there. And I said, what is that? That doesn't sound good. And what it is basically is they take 4 liters of your bone marrow. They give you enough chemotherapy to kill you. They bring your blood counts down to 0.1. So now you're just completely full of poison. And then they're going to give you your bone marrow back into your system, and it's going to start producing fresh, healthy blood. It's like taking an oil change out of a car. You take the oil right out of the bad oil out of a car and put new oil in, and hopefully it stays healthy and strong. Same with the blood. You got to take out the bad blood, put in the new blood. Anyways, so they did that. That meant that I had to stay in a hospital for 3 months in isolation. And in isolation, I was in the Toronto General on the 9th floor, and I seen some weird stuff go on there. But I was right beside the helipad, and that's what kept my sanity. If you can't do the time in jail, don't do the crime, because it's crazy when you're in isolation. So anyway, some things happened to me in there. I was there for 3 months. I seen a guy bleed out one time. That was really bad. The little nurse went inside and she slipped. The blood was literally coming out of the bedroom door. It was just horrible. Above me, 2 floors up, was the HIV 11. And those people were not in good shape. And one night I was dreaming that I was in my bed and I was floating over a lake of blood. And I was looking over and I could see the blood and it was light out. And when I woke up, worked myself up and I looked down, there was my own blood on the floor. Lots of it. It had gone back through my IV tract. And I bring the thing and they brought in some blood and saved my life at that time. And some other things happened too. But anyways, to get on with the story, I did the 3 months in Princess Margaret. And I remember the day that they brought in, the first time they allowed me to eat anything, because I couldn't eat. When you're on chemotherapy, you puke up everything. And they brought me in quiche. I never had quiche before. And I remember telling my brothers, I'm going to eat quiche every day because it tastes so good. And I can actually taste it because my taste buds came back. Then after that, I went for treatments in Princess Margaret. I did 18 days there, and they gave me 2 treatments a day, which is illegal now. It's not even allowed anymore. I did 36 treatments in 18 days, and every day my brother would come up from Lake Simcoe, and he'd bring me back there and we'd go swimming. And I wasn't supposed to swim. Nobody told me that. So I don't know how good that did anyways. And then I did some other things too. My doctor, I had lots of operations. Dr. Fertizzi was a vascular specialist in Sault Ste. Marie, and he did portacatheter. I have a big hole in my chest. I don't know if you can see it right now. Right there. And I tell it's a big hole. That's where they put a portacatheter in, so I don't have to. I tell my grandchildren that I was wounded in Vietnam. I was shot in the chest, and my Zippo lighter saved me. Vietnam, I would have been 7, but they went for that one. And and I survived that one night, and I don't know why. I don't have a clue why I survived, but it happened. I also had Indian medicine from a great man named Chief Dan Pine from Garden River First Nations, and he was a senior elder. He had one arm, and me and him went into the bush. And he showed me how to get the stuff out of the bush that he needed, and he replaced it with tobacco. And he made me 3 big jugs, and I took them at my mom's camp out in St. Joe Island. And I survived that. And I just want everyone to know that you fight hard when you have cancer. I was young, though. I was young and very, very strong, very, very healthy. They seen me in a lot of the places. A lot of the different doctors their eyes lit up. Yeah. And one thing that I do, and I never told people this because they don't know why I'm still alive, because my body parts should have shut down because they were so destroyed by the chemotherapy and by the radiation. And they said, any doctors in Toronto said to me that that even though if I survive this, it's very, very toxic to the heart and very, very toxic to the body parts. And so here I am. I'm 60 years old now, and I did this when I was 26. And when I was leaving the hospital one day, Dr. David Wald was leaving, and I said, Doc, I'm done now. He said, yeah. I said, you stay healthy. I said, is there anything I can do that might help me, survive this after the fact? And he said, yes, take vitamin C every day. So this is the trick right here. I've been taking vitamin C since I was released in the hospital in 1989, late 89. That was my last time. And I took no less than 1,500 milligrams of vitamin C every single day. Now I'm down to 1,000 milligrams. My wife gives it to me every day. And you drink it with water, and really, really, it is so underrated. It fixes every single body part you have. Since I've had cancer, though, I've had problems. I had congestive heart failure in 2000. I had a stroke. I had this surgery right here. I don't know if you can see that scar. Goes right from there to there. That's carotid artery surgery. I had a blockage from a stroke. I woke up one day and I couldn't feel my right arm. And my wife called Telehealth Ontario, and they said they were sending an ambulance, and I had a stroke. And Dr. Fertizzi, Dr. Jenkins, he was an old British fella, and he did a great job helping me out. thank God to him. Thank God to Dr. Fertizzi. He is a friend of mine. I worked with him in the past in volunteer basis for different things. His daughter was a swimmer and she was very good. But anyways, he did this operation, and this is really, really a bad operation because you're wide awake. You're not sedated. You're not nothing. They're going to go down. They're going to cut you right down to your throat, and they're going to take the carotid artery out. They're going to cut it down the middle, and they're going to clean it right out. And I had that, and I had me and my wife both contacted H1N1 at one time. We almost died from that. So my life's been a real adventure, but I'm still here, and I'm still healthy, and I'm still working, and I'm still with my wife, and I'm still a happy guy. I'm just glad to be alive, and I love my doctors, Dr. David Wald, Dr. Sam Fratizzi, and I was with Dr. Spatafora. She was interning when I was sick, and she'll remember that. And all the other doctors in Toronto General and the Princess Margaret, all those fantastic nurses. So vitamin C is a very good healer. Yeah, I had 2 children. Yeah, my wife's reminding me that I had two sons, and I adopted one. And we adopted one, and her son, and they're healthy and they're big and strong boys. And don't ever give up when you're fighting cancer. I've been through a real battle and a lot of funny things. And one other thing, I'm going to tell you a quick story here that happened to me. I was in my bed in the Plummer Hospital in oncology, laying there. It was about 5:00 in the afternoon, and this lady came in, and she was in a white nurse's outfit, and she gave me a sponge bath with Vaseline intensive care, and she did a great job. And I'm like, I've never seen you before. And she had one of those old nurses uniforms on. This is a true story, with the white hat, that stuff. And she gave me this beautiful sponge bath, and she was a very, very pretty girl, and she did a great job. She did me completely. And then Laura, my nurse, and Laura's was a young nurse then too. And she said, I said, someone already gave me a sponge bath, a girl with a nurse's uniform on, a white uniform. She said, no, I'm the only one on the ward. Nobody can give you a sponge bath. And when she went over, lifted my sheet, and she ran her finger down the side of my belly, and it had Vaseline. She goes, yes, you were done. And that was my guardian angel. And she's been with me ever since. And don't think you don't have a guardian angel, because you do. So anyways, there's lots of aspects that go on during cancer. And I'm going to let you go now. And I hope this helps somebody. Don't stop fighting cancer. Fight it hard, especially if you're young. Older people, do what you can. But miracles do happen. Bye for now. My wife says I have to say goodbye.
And Sheree.
And